Okay, so what is psychology? Psychology is the study of the mind, and along with these aspects of the mind would be perception, cognition, emotion, and behavior. So for a very very long time, people are already interested with the subject matter of psychology. In fact, even the troglodytes, those people, troglodytes, okay? Sino nakakaalam sa inyo ng troglodytes? Okay, cavemen, cavewomen, mga tao na nabuhay noong Stone Age, troglodytes. Even the troglodytes probably are gathering around in a fire and talking about behavior of people around them. Okay? Nagtatanong sila, bakit ang mga kabataan ngayon napaka-weirdo? Bakit ang mga ganon ganito ay nag-iba ang ugali ni Apeng nung mabagok yung ulo niya? Bakit kaya? So, people are interested about human behavior. Now, so in a way, informally, psychology has a very, very long history. For in the beginning of the dawn of man in human history, meron ng psychology. But as a discipline, it is quite new. It becomes a science during the time of Wilhelm Wundt, during the time of Sigmund Freud. And as a science, there is a promise that the human behavior is going to be studied as logically and as empirically as possible. Logical and empirical, meaning based on something that you can observe, okay, based on something that you can measure and quantify, okay. Okay. Now, itong mga ito ay mga bagay na mahirap gawin sa tao. Why? Because ang tao is not as participative or as cooperative as the subject of study of other sciences like biology or physics. Okay? Yung mga pinag-aaralan sa biology, sa chemistry, pwede mong ilagay sa ninyo mamaya at sagutin ko yung mga tanong nyo. Nagre-recording kasi tayo eh. Okay ninyo? Pwede ninyong ilagay sa isang test tube. Pero ang tao, papayag ba siya na pag-aralan mo at ilagay sa test tube? So it's really very difficult to study a human person. And that's the reason why the progress of psychology is slower than the progress of other sciences. Okay? So, yeah, it is really a little bit difficult to study the one who studies, to research the researcher, or to psychoanalyze the psychoanalyst. So you will see we still have a long way to go in psychology, but we are going to get there sooner rather than later. And what we are doing right now, studying psychology, understanding human behavior, is as good a place as any to start with. Okay? So why is it important that we understand the self? Okay, it is important that we understand the self because if we don't understand who we are, parang baliwala ang buhay natin. Even Socrates himself says, know thyself. Know thyself. Sabi niya, a life not reflected upon is not worth living. Kung hindi mo pinag-iisipan ng buhay mo, sabi niya, walang kwenta ang buhay mo. Okay? And even if it is really impossible to understand who we are, you know why it is impossible to completely understand who we are? Because we are always changing. We are always changing. Ito sabi ni Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, if you begin to understand what you are without trying to change it, then what you are undergoes a transformation. Okay? So now you understand what you are, and even without trying to change it, you are still undergoing transformation. All the cells in your body are being replaced and duplicated at the moment. Okay? The air that we breathe, the food that we eat are being digested and it replaces the old cells. Our experiences of the world and everything else are changing the way we see the world and changing the way we speak. The chemicals that we put in our body has been changing us and has been influencing our energy. So if you are going to ask me who I am, the moment that you ask me who I am or who are you, I would not be able to answer you 100% because the moment that you open your lips and I open mine, I have changed already. Okay? We are constantly changing. However, even if we are constantly changing, we have the responsibility to still know ourselves at least partially. Okay? But ourselves, no matter how we try to understand it and fully try to understand it, it will remain a mystery. Okay? It will always remain a mystery. Now, this is your assignment, and I want you to listen intently. In this assignment of yours, you are going to study this essay, The Quest for Understanding and Meaning, From Process and Complexity to Meaning and the Transcendent, written by William Stoger. Okay? I also included the link so that in the link, you will see that there are further readings that are available to you so that you will be able to be helped in understanding this essay. Now, I am telling you now that this essay is not so easy to understand. Okay? I chose this essay even if it is not easy to understand because I have to introduce you to some harder stuff. So it's not easy, it's not as easy as reading stories in Wattpad, but it is not as difficult as those books that I am reading, like The Critic of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant, or Freedom and Responsibility, okay? Or Being and Nothingness. Hindi naman kasing hirap noon ng mga ganong klaseng libro. So this is, let's say for example, a medium, okay? Medium difficulty. And kapag ka nagtagumpay kayo dito, then I really would like to congratulate you. So try your best to understand this essay, and you are also going to do some work in this essay mamaya ipapaliwanag ko. Okay? So if you need to read this essay 100 times, read it. If you need to translate this essay into something that you can understand, do it. Okay? So that you would be able to really understand 100% what is being tried to conveyed by this essay. All right. So to help you give a general idea, I will just give a general idea of what this essay is all about. This is about man trying to understand his place in the universe from the very beginning, and it started from the crudest method to the most sophisticated method possible. And sometimes those methods can be considered macabre. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng macabre? Okay. It is spelled as that, macabre, but ang pronunciation is macabre. It means horrifying or shocking. Okay? So anything that is macabre that can even be considered macabre is like digging graves and robbing bodies in order to see what is inside the human body. So dati kasi bawal yun na, bawal pag-aralan ng human body. But if we are not going to study the human body, then how will the science of medicine progress? So the first types of experimentations bordered on the macabre. And sometimes people would even employ some rituals like calling the spirits of the dead or even the demon, rituals like that. It can be somehow like magical in nature, trying to control the natural law of nature by way of magic. There's even some pseudosciences like alchemy, trying to convert an ordinary metal into a gold, but they did not succeed. So this crude method of studying things became sophisticated later on and developed into more scientific and logical approach. So we had more sophisticated disciplines now, like biology, anthropology. We have zoology, sociology, anatomy, etc., etc. Then there are other methods also of understanding the meaning of our existence by way of philosophizing. So we have the history of philosophy and theology along with the progress of the natural sciences in order to have a comprehensive and fuller understanding of reality. And where does it lead us? We have now a surplus of understanding and meaning, which we encounter the mystery of reality daily. However, as we encounter and get to be able to understand more things, it opens some kind of a of Pandora's box of new questions. So when you open that Pandora's box, you open that Pandora's box by way of understanding something new, by way of knowing and discovering something, but it opens more questions, and more mysteries. And man cannot rest unless he gets to be able to answer questions and mysteries, and the cycle goes on because once a mystery is solved, once a question is answered, more questions will pop up. And so man's endeavor to really understand the universe, to really understand his place in the cosmos, and to know the secrets of the mysteries of the self and of the universe, it is endless. Okay, so yeah, so this is being discussed here in this essay, the different ways with which man has attempted to understand his place in the cosmos by way of understanding the cosmos itself in history. Now, very important in understanding who we are is to understand where we came from. And in understanding where we came from, man has looked into the nature of the universe. And we have an understanding right now that we have this some kind of evolutionary theory wherein all things came from a single point, a singularity. Okay, there was this singularity. That this singularity in the universe is actually a concentration of everything. It's a concentrated energy, a very, very strong energy, powerful energy, being concentrated and being concentrated more and more until it reached the point that it can no longer sustain being concentrated, okay? And then it exploded, boom, explosion, big explosion. And as it explodes, it became several galaxies, stars, and other heavenly bodies. It forms a lot of galaxies move away, as they move away from each other and reach the vast reaches of the vacuum of space. Now, as it progresses into its expansion or inflation, there was also the process of supercooling of the universe. Okay? Supercooling because at this point of singularity, because it is pure energy, napakainit niya, sobrang init. And in the process of supercooling, dahil naglalayo-layo na sila, okay, the spaces between is really super cold, okay? Napakalamig. Actually, if you go out into the Earth's atmosphere, you will instantly turn into
what other information about Earth's atmosphere? Here's a summary from National Geographic Society. Nitrogen and oxygen account for 99%
Stop. Okay. Itong cellphone ko masyadong adelantado eh. May marinig lang nakikisabat na. Okay. So, as soon as you exit the Earth's atmosphere, you are going to be an instant frozen delight. Okay? Magyayelo ka kaagad sa sobrang lamig. Okay? outside the atmosphere, where where the heat of the sun can no longer be contained. Okay, it is really very cold out there. Okay, so inflation and supercooling magkasabayan. But there will come a time after several billion more years that the expansion, the charge or the force of the initial explosion will already lose its force. Hindi na ito maglalayo-layo. Babagal ang expansion hanggang sa tumigil. Pagka yaan ay tumigil na, magsisimula na ngayon silang mag-attract sa isa't isa. They are now going to attract each other, and in that attraction to each other, maglalapit-lapit na naman yan. Okay? At sa process na paglalapit-lapit, no? The deflation ang tawag doon. Kung kanina inflation, deflation naman ngayon, there will be a heating of the universe dahil naglalapit-lapit na naman sila. Until such time that it form again another singularity. Okay? And that singularity will start another Big Bang. Okay? So that's the theory. The beginning of the universe and the beginning of life here on Earth. That at some point in the inflation of the universe, it became in our universe, in our galaxy, uh, friendly. This part of the galaxy, our Earth, the solar system, it became friendly to sponsor life. No? Ang tawag natin doon sa zone where it is friendly to sponsor life ay Goldilocks. Goldilocks, hindi yan cake ha. Goldilocks zone. So, how many Goldilocks zones are there in the entire universe? We do not know, but I'm sure that if our zone is a Goldilocks zone, and there are countless stars and galaxies in the universe, then there could be other Goldilocks zones out there that can sponsor life. Okay? Hindi nga lang natin alam if those life have reached the degree of the kind of life that we are enjoying here on Earth. So kung meron bang intelligent life doon or simply life form or inferior life forms. All right. Okay, so in Earth, ito yung nangyari sa atin. And from then on, as the Earth cools and as the seas sponsored amino acid floating into it, nagkaroon ng mga unang simple life forms like algae and amoeba. And from then on, nagkaroon ng mga isda at yung mga isda ay nag-migrate sa land at nagkaroon ng paa at nag-adapt sa buhay sa land. And then nagkaroon ng primate at yung primate ay eventually naging Homo sapiens at yun tayo ngayon. Okay? So, and these Homo sapiens are, because sapiens nga may intelligence, these Homo sapiens are now capable of understanding himself. Now, these Homo sapiens are now looking back and trying to understand who they are in the scheme of things in history and in the universe. That's what we are, that's who we are. Ay sir, naniniwala ka sa evolution? Di ba nagdasal tayo kanina? Di ba taong simbahan ka? Di ba galing ka sa seminaryo? Ba't ka naniniwala sa evolution? Mga anak, it does not matter whether I believe in evolution or not. What matters is that I believe in God. Okay? And if ever I believe in evolution, I only believe that God used evolution in order to create us. So there is what we call in Genesis chapter 1, meron sinasabi, the 7 days of creation. Pero in Genesis chapter 2, meron din tayong sinasabing the story of creation. Dalawang story yan. Yung una, create in 7 days. Tapos yung story of creation naman, handoon, si Papa God naglalakad sa garden and then kumuha siya ng putik at hinulma niya yung putik at hiningahan at ito'y naging si Adan. So, dalawang kwento ng creation. Alin doon ang tama? So, ibig sabihin dito, clue dito ay ito ay istorya lang. Pero itong dalawang istoryang ito ay may pinapahiwatig. At ano ang pinapahiwatig niya? That God is the author of life. God is the creator. Okay? Ngayon, itong God as being creator, the way He creates us, okay, whether it is by Big Bang or simply by one word, katulad na sinasabi sa Bible, is immaterial and irrelevant. What is important is that we are created. Okay? Kung tayo man ay nanggaling sa unggoy, wala na tayong ano doon. Huwag na tayong magreklamo. Ang importante ay tayo ay naging tao at ginawa tayo ng Diyos. Kung paano tayo ginawa ng Diyos, huwag na nating pakialaman. Okay? Whatever method God employed in creating us, it is because that is the best method in creating us. Remember, if God chose to create us through 700 billion years, what is 700 billion years to God? It wherein to a God where time does not exist. So baliwala sa kanya yung 700 billion years or 700 trillion years. Para sa Diyos, wala lang yun. Tayo lang ang natatagalan doon. Okay? So these are the general stages of cosmic evolution. So I hope maliwanag sa atin yan, no? So we have the Big Bang, we have the Big Bang theory, and then the rapid inflation. From the inflation, the expansion of the universe, and then the supercooling of the universe, pinakita ko na kanina. And then exit from inflation, titigil ang inflation, magkakaroon ng stopping point, and then magsisimula ang reattraction of this heavenly body, pabalik na, okay? Because all of these have their own gravity, magdidikit-dikit yan. Okay? So, and then we have cosmological evolutions, leading to the synthesis of all elements heavier than helium and lithium. Ito yung late classical cosmological evolution. Ito mga elements na to nag-forms into planets and stars. All the elements that are heavier than helium and lithium. Kasi ito yung mga pinakamagagaan na elements eh. Yung mga hangin yan, air. Okay? Diba? Ang lobo, pag nilagyan mo ng helium, lilipad. Okay. So we also have uninstructed chemical evolution that all these chemical or these organisms are evolving and they are adapting to the environment. Uninstructed if we let them do its own evolution, natural evolution. So nagkakaroon ng progress from simple to complex life forms. Tayo yon. From the amino acid that is floating on the ocean, nagkaroon ng fish, nagkaroon ng malalaking fish, nagkaroon ng land animals, nagkaroon ng primates, nagkaroon ng Homo sapiens. Ito na tayo ngayon. Okay? Then we also have instructed chemical evolution that we reproduce the information in the RNA and DNA, ribonucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid that are found in the organism. So if we are going to architect or engineer this RNA and DNA, then we can come up with an improved version of some organisms like papaya. You can have a seedless papaya. So you are going to tinker on the DNA of the papaya para magkaroon ka ng seedless papaya o seedless na pakwan o nakakita na kayo ng pakwan na square. O kaya yung mga giant apple o giant kamote. Okay, napakasasarap, ang tamis yung mga punta ka sa Baguio, yung mga strawberries ang liliit. Naku, punta ka sa Thailand, napakalalaki ng strawberries. Punta ka sa Mexico, ang lalaki ng strawberries. Ang sarap na strawberries doon. Because those things are genetically modified already. Instructed chemical evolution. Okay? Now, we came to a point right now. We are now at the point wherein we have the capability to instruct the chemical evolution of our human body because we have already mapped our entire genome, okay, genome, okay? We have already mapped our entire genome. And what is that? We already know our DNA. And so, bago ka palang magkasakit, pwede mo nang patanggal or ipabago yung DNA na magpuproduce ng sakit. Okay? To that particular extent, I think the engineering or the modifications of our DNA is good or ethical. Pero pagdating dito, ano sa tingin nyo? Mag-asawa, magkaka-baby. Gusto ng mag-asawa ay yung baby nila ay yung pag-asawa kasi ay pango, pandak, maitim. Okay? Puro tigyawat. Okay? Mukhang tsinelas na tinubuan ng muka. Okay? Kawawa naman. So gusto ng mag-asawa, yung magiging anak nila, maputi, matangos ang ilong, matalino, kulay blue ang mata. So nagpunta sila ng doktor at sinabi sa doktor, Dok, yung DNA ng anak ko, pakimodify mo para maging ganito itsura. Do you think it is ethical to modify, okay, to engineer, to manufacture, to design, to have some kind of, a designer baby? This is a moral dilemma right now. Kagandahan nito hanggang ngayon, hindi pa ito pinapayagan. Although it is already possible, but that is still illegal. Okay? Biological evolution, we all know that we are adapting to the environment. Okay? And that in our case, our biological evolution, we had been exposed to COVID. Okay? Asahan ninyo that the next generation of humans will have some kind of immunity to COVID. Pero for as long as COVID is new to us, we are going to be affected by it. Unless we develop a herd immunity or at least a vaccine that is effective in treating COVID or preventing COVID. Evolutions also happen socially and politically, religious and economic. Katulad ng economic structures, nagkaroon ng evolution sa China at saka sa Russia. Okay? Na yung mga proletariat or the working class ang naging leaders. Dati kasi, especially in China, the ones who are ruling the state are the aristocracy. The aristocracy. Ngayon, itinapon nila yung aristocracy, pinatay, okay, tinanggal sa office, at pinalitan ng the ruling class, proletariat. The economic and political structure, cultural evolution yan. Okay, so the constraints imposed by and the limitations of natural sciences. Ano-ano yung mga constraints nito and limitations ng natural sciences? First one is that what is considered factual today, may be considered a myth tomorrow. Maaaring alam natin ngayon, sigurado na tayo na ito na talaga. Pero nagkaroon ng bagong discoveries, nagkaroon ng panibagong way of observing things in the future, at nakita natin na mali pala. And so we're going to have some kind of modification. As of now, the most convincing way of explaining the nature of the universe and of human life is the Big Bang Theory. But what if later on we get to be able to understand the nature of humanity in another way? Meron panibagong secret na ni-reveal ang science at ang universe sa atin. Then we're going to revise our understanding. So, the limitation of science, we cannot say for certain that all of it are We cannot say for certain that all of it are 100% accurate. Okay? Then another thing is that can all the knowledge that science brings or bring give meaning to our existence? Hindi. Okay? Science can give us the how, the when, the how many, uh, what, when, where, but it cannot provide us with the why. Okay? It cannot provide us with the why. It takes a grand narrative that would put all these things together to give meaning, to give meaning to what science has provided us. So again, there was a transition from mythos to logos, okay? And all these things that we are doing now and employing now are products of the logos science, pero only mythos can give meaning, okay? So in the end, science will again beg mythos to put some kind of meaning to all this understanding that we have. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what else? I think kung ipapaliwanag ko sa inyo lahat ito, edi wala na kayong ginawa sa assignment ninyo. Daya nyo naman. So hindi ko na ipapaliwanag yung iba. Okay? And at least almost everything na contained in this essay ay naibigay ko na yung pinaka-gist nito. So hindi na kayo masyadong mahihirapang intindihin. Okay, so in history, we transitioned from mythos to logos. What is that? When we transition from mythos to logos, at first, men tried to understand the meaning of his existence by coming up with stories and legends about how things develop or where things came from. Those are myths, okay, that give us the answer to why are we here and how are we created and what is the reason for our existence. Okay, so that's okay. There are plenty of mythos that you will find. Actually, yung creation story, the story of the Noah's Ark, the Tower of Babel in the Bible, those are mythos. Ang importante doon yung meaning, hindi yung mismo ang nangyari. Because right now, we are not sure kung yun talaga ay nangyari. Doon sa first book of the Bible, sa Genesis, the first 11 chapters, hindi natin masasabi talaga na historical yon. So we can consider them mythos. So yung mythos na to, sabihin ba natin nagsinungaling yung Bible, yung Genesis? Hindi. Because these first 11 chapters provide us with meaning. It provided us with meaning, with message. It has a message. So bawat mythos ng bawat kultura, it provides message and meaning to life, the way of explaining life. Okay, phenomena. Now, of course, there came a time that men are no longer satisfied with simply concocting stories in order to explain phenomena. And so we invented logos. Oh, sorry. We came up with logos. Okay? Which means if we are going to translate this Greek word, it's actually word, okay? Or mind, or study. So, pag sinabi nating logos, it is already scientific. A scientific way. Bagsak ng bagsak ka. A scientific way of studying things. Okay? So, there is a difference between mythos and logos. I am not saying that mythos is inferior to logos, and I am not saying that logos is inferior to mythos. What I am just trying to say, they should go hand in hand, okay? In order to give meaning and to make sense of the things that we know, kailangan natin ng mythos. At kailangan din ng mythos ang logos para maliwanagan siya. Katulad lang nito, our faith must be explained by philosophy. Okay? Our faith is the mythos. Philosophy enlightens our mythos, enlightens our faith. We get to be able to understand our faith because of logos, because of philosophy. So they go hand in hand. Yan ay magkasintahan or mag-asawa. Okay? Mag-asawa yung dalawang yan. Hindi natin ito pinag-aaway. Okay? Para yung yin-yang. Yin-yang. Okay? Ayan, parang yin-yang yan. Opposites. But these opposites are complementary. Okay? So that's how I want you to understand the mythos and logos. And then, of course, here, this is the first effect of mythos. The first attempts of man to scientifically and logically study the universe. And sa tingin nila, maintindihan nila kung ano ang kahulugan ng buhay ng tao kung ito ay malalaman nila kung ano yung ultimate stuff o kung if all the things in the universe would be reduced into something similar to one another, that ultimate stuff, when everything is reduced to its essential, to its essence, na kung ano yung essence na yun, yun yung pare-pareho tayo, then we can begin to understand our place in the universe about who we are. Okay? There are plenty of philosophers here, si Thales, Anaximander, Anaximenes, Anaxagoras, Heraclitus, Democritus, okay, and Pythagoras, yan, nasabi ko na, Anaximenes. I suggest that you read them, and of course, we are going to go back to this discussion on Module 2, okay? This is your activity, okay? And this is going to go to your journal, ha? Sasagutan niyo to sa journal ninyo. Tingnan niyo yung mga tanong. These are personal questions, and these are some of the things that will give you an insight about who you are. So, saan dapat ito pupunta? Sa journal. So, make it your journal entry number 1. Okay? Isasubmit po ba? Sabi ko nga, hindi di ba? Hindi dapat binabasa ng iba ang journal. Unless gusto nyong ipabasa sa akin. Okay? And then, ito yung assignment ninyo. Okay? Kailan ito papasa? Kapag meron na tayong Schoology. Okay? Malapit na tayo magkaroon ng Schoology. So, read the essay, The Quest for Understanding and Meaning from Process and Complexity to Meaning and the Transcendent by William Stoger, and write in your own words its key ideas. Use bulleted format and present your output in logical order. Okay? So, yan ang assignment ninyo. Isasubmit ninyo yan sa Schoology. Pag meron ng Schoology. Ngayong nalaman ko that I have thousands of students, nagbabawas ako ng mga ipinagagawa. Ayan. Kaya tatanggalin na yan, yung number 2. Hindi nyo na yan gagawin. Instead, magkuquiz na lang tayo ng magkuquiz. So, instead ng mga maraming activities, mas maraming quizzes ang ibibigay ko sa inyo. Okay? Dahil gagamit tayo ng Schoology, automatic ang checking, hindi ako mahihirapang mag-check. Mahihirapan lang akong gumawa ng test. Pero di bali na. Isang hirap lang yan.